Cheers to 2023, y'all. I hope you're having a lovely start to your new year and that things are going well for you. If you don't know me already, my name is Ro. I'm a figure model. I've been a figure model for over a decade, and I thought since it's a new year and there are a lot of new faces here that I could start off this season of videos on this channel with a little Q&A. I've been getting a few questions kind of across the board on all the different socials and my emails and things like that, and I thought it could be a fun way to get to know each other to answer some of my most asked questions. Thank you for asking questions. I appreciate it, and I'm happy to get into it, so let's get into it. So first question is, are you an artist along with being a model? And if so, how did you get into your art practice, and also how did you get into modeling? I'll start by saying, yes, I am an artist myself. I like to call myself a multidisciplinary artist because I kind of dabble in everything, but the main mediums that I work in are oil paint, watercolor, charcoal, and I'm also a portrait and elopement photographer, so that takes up a lot of my time as well. And as to how did I get started, I guess I'll start with modeling because that actually came before I was an artist. I started modeling just kind of on a whim way back when I was in community college. They needed a model. I was there, and that's kind of how it kicked off. Then through the years, I started working various art places around where I was. It's kind of been history. Well, that's how I kind of got into it, just on a whim. They needed somebody, and I honestly fell in love with it. I adore modeling. I love being able to be a resource for artists, and especially as an artist myself, I recognize how important it is to have real life reference. As to how I got started in art, I've always kind of been a little bit of an artist. When I was young, I loved my art classes in elementary school and middle school and high school. Mainly photography. Photography is kind of always been a meat of what I do, and it actually started in the darkroom. So I'm an avid film photographer. I shoot 35mm, I shoot 120, I shoot large format. I love film. I will always love film. Film always brings me back to who I am and is such a big part of who I am as an artist and just as a person. So yeah, that's kind of what got me started. And then my undergrad was in art therapy, and that's when I really started digging in. I was taking more art classes than I ever have before, and I struggled through a lot of them, but I loved the process. I love everything about it. Figure drawing was one of the first classes I ever took. I felt so free and I loved it so much, and so it's kind of funny that I ended up being on the other side of that as well. Thank you so much for that question. On to the next question I got quite a few times was, do you have a warm-up schedule? Is there some sort of routine you do before you start modeling? I am also a licensed occupational therapist. I've spent a lot of time learning about muscles and bones and joints and nerves. I think it's incredibly important to have a good routine in terms of taking care of yourself, because modeling is extremely taxing on the body. You're holding poses in end ranges of your range of motion. Your muscles are holding you up, your full body weight sometimes in ways that they usually wouldn't. It's not a functional position, and it can put a lot of strain on your nerves and your tendons and all of that. So it's very important to stretch. That being said, I'm not always the best at this. That's the reality of life, is you know better sometimes and you still do what you're gonna do. I started this before I knew very much about any of that, so I kind of have old routines that I'm getting better about. I'm always stretching after. That is something that I am very consistent with. After a session, I will do 20-30 minutes of a deep stretch yin yoga. If I didn't, I would probably not still be doing this. At the very least, if you're looking at beginning modeling, and this was a question you're asking because you're trying to figure out, what's a healthy way to go about this, I absolutely think you should try to do just some gentle stretching, 20 minutes before a session. If you can, get your heart rate up a little bit, get the blood flowing, do a couple jumping jacks, something like that, and then just stretch a little bit, just so your body's warmed up before you jump into a pose. I like to take the gesture period, 5 to 10 minutes of gestures, to really warm up. Sometimes I'll test the limits of how far my muscles feel comfortable being today. Every day is different, and that's also a good way to warm up. And usually the way that an in-person class or a virtual class is set up is you'll do gestures, take a 5-minute break. Always take a break. Even if you don't think you need one, take a break. your body will thank you in the long term, and it will keep you healthy in the long run. So always take a break. So you do your gestures, 5-minute break, some longer poses, at least a 5-minute break. And I say if you can, if it's possible, to split your longer poses into, 2 20 minutes, 2 30 minutes. Take a break in between. Move your body gently and just give it some love, because your fascia and all the stuff that's in there that keeps us functioning well, it needs it, and it will thank you, and it will keep you healthy in the long run. So that's what I have to say about that. Not always the best about it, but I think it's extremely important, and if you can start good habits early, then you are setting yourself up for success. Another question we have is, what do you do besides modeling? What do you do when you're not modeling? And that's a great question. This channel takes up quite a bit of my time. Most of what I'm doing is filming and editing, which I enjoy quite a lot, but that's a lot of what I do in terms of like interests and hobbies and other things that I like to do. I'm always working on my own art. I make sure I go through and sketch every single pose in every single video before I post them to make sure that they're fun to sketch. Being an artist really influences how I model. I always sit and think, is this something I would like to be drawing? Is this an interesting pose? So going through and doing that really makes sure that I'm making things interesting and a little bit different every time. I'm almost always shooting film. I have 2 or 3 cameras on me kind of at all times. I love documenting my life, other people's lives, the little moments, the big moments, just like authentic living. I think it's so important and I love it so much. So I'm doing that a bit. I like to go foraging. I'm learning about mushrooms and other wild edibles and just about nature in general. I love being outside. I love to hike. I also pet sit. I love taking care of animals. I love being around animals. Let's see, I just started making bread. I'm very into it. I like it very much. And yeah, I do all sorts of things, but those are the main things that I spend my time doing, is just making art and trying to foster connections and support a community. On to the next question. How do you plan your videos? I am getting better at this, but I mostly just shoot when I am feeling like shooting, and I shoot things that I think are fun. I love finding cool locations to shoot at, and I'm really enjoying being able to bring beautiful scenery into figure modeling as well. It can be something as simple as I'm driving down a road and there's like a little bit of a pull-off. As long as I'm not trespassing, or if I ask permission, I'll just pull there and I'll shoot there. Sometimes in one location I'll do a set of gestures and some long poses, but usually I'm just thinking about, okay, like I already have some gestures filmed, let's do some shorter poses, or I've even started doing some longer poses as well, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, things like that. It can be a little bit of a challenge sometimes because I'm on my own. I don't know if focus is always pulled perfectly. We're doing our best, we're learning. This is a new format for me, so I'm grateful to be learning and sharing with you as I learn. Just schedule them out, I'll upload them, I edit them. Sometimes editing doesn't take a long time, sometimes editing takes a while. It's kind of video specific. If I need to make graphics, I'll make graphics, the music, all of that. So it's kind of a labor of love for sure. Okay, moving on. A lot of people are asking, is there some way we can support this project? Is there some way we can support you and support this project? And I'm super grateful to hear that. That is so kind and so generous, and I'm just glad that you're finding value in this. So I just want to say that ahead of time. First thing you can do to support me, really, right now is like this video, like any video that you watch, subscribe, turn on notifications, share this video with anybody that you think would benefit from it or enjoy it. Basically just spreading this so more people know about it, so the algorithm bumps it up, all that gross internet stuff, but that is really, really a great way to support me and this channel right now. Just helping it grow and helping more people get access to this resource. That's number one. And number two, I am working on some other places for videos to exist. Longer videos, like full sessions, like 2 hours, 3-hour sessions. Just some bonus goodies and reference photos as well. I'm not sure if that's something that interests you. Definitely let me know. Leave a comment if that's something you'd like to see. Yeah, it just gets a little bit complicated when we're talking about like full nudity, which is important in terms of learning anatomy and building your skill set. And I've been a figure model for 10 years. I have no problem with nudity, and I think it's really valuable to learn and to see real life human stuff. So it just gets a little bit complicated with, you know, platforms, rules and regulations. There would be an age requirement. You have to be 18 and over, which is understandable, but I want these references to be accessible for as many people as possible. So I don't know, I've got some things in the works. If you have any ideas about maybe a good way to go about that, if you really would like to support the project financially, which would be incredible because it is starting to take up more and more time, it would be great to be able to expand the project as time goes on. So that's something very early stages, but in the works. Thank you so much for asking this question, and thank you so much for being so sweet and wanting to support the project. It's so kind and so amazing, and I appreciate you for even asking. All right, and then I'm gonna round this off with one last question that I just thought was a fun one to throw in. Somebody asked if I had a favorite food or a favorite snack that I like to eat either in preparation or in the middle of a session, and I do. I love dates with peanut butter and a little bit of salt on it. It is incredible. It gives me so much energy. There's a lot of fiber. It keeps me going through a whole session. I can go through like 3 hours. I'll have like 3 dates of peanut butter and salt, maybe an hour before class, and it'll keep me going through class. Sometimes if I'm having a longer class, I'll bring a protein bar or some nuts. A lot of water. Hydration is so important, and I'm a big proponent of taking sips of water throughout the class on my breaks, not chugging, but just sips to keep my body going. That's it. And then like sometimes after, I like to have like a big bowl of miso or a big bowl of like a big ramen that I'll make, and yeah, it's just a nice thing to have after class. Okay, so that about wraps this up. I apologize if I wasn't able to get to your question. This was fun, so I'd love to do this again. If you have any more questions that maybe I didn't touch on, or if you want me to expand on one a little bit further or in more detail in like its own separate video, I'd be happy to do that as well. So definitely, you know, ask your questions down below. I'm gonna try to be a little bit more present on the channel this year. That's one of my goals, is to kind of show up a little bit more. So yeah, I think it could be fun to maybe make this a series, like an Ask a Figure Model series or something like that. So drop your questions down below. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Ro. I am so grateful to have you all here. If you are finding value in this, please subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, like the video, share this video with somebody who you think would appreciate or find value from it as well. And I can't wait to get to know you all better, and I hope that this was a fun way to get to know me a little bit too. Thank you for being you, thank you for making art, and thanks for being here. I'll catch y'all in the next one. I'll see you soon. We've got some good stuff coming this year, so thank you for being here. Mwah. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.